Hello everyone, my name is Dee Miloa. I am the Marketing Coordinator for Specialized Exhibitions. Today I am joined by Mr. John Kaplan, who is the doyen of Electra Mining Africa, our Portfolio Director Charlene Hefer, and our Managing Director Gary Corin. We are here today to celebrate 50 years of Electromining. What a milestone, what an achievement. Mr. Kaplan, Charlene, Gary, I think you will all agree with me that this is a true representation of what we mean by building a legacy. I mean, the past, the current, and the future. Mr. Kaplan, you've had such an illustrious career building the Electromining brand. Gary and Charlene, you have just both been at the helm of making sure that we consistently continue to deliver a world-class show. And I'm very honored to be part of the many young people who are now taking Electromining Africa forward into the future and looking forward to the upcoming years. Electromining Africa will celebrate its 50th anniversary this year. Mr. Kaplan, if I may just begin with you, to what do you attribute the success of the show?
It's an absolutely amazing show because one of the big things we have are the people who continually come back to the show and they become part of our family, part of our friends. And I mean, in 1972, I think we had, at Milner Park, we had 50 exhibitors and 1,500 square meters of space. Today we'd moved to the new Expo Center, which was enabled us to have a bigger show. And we have over 30,000 square meters and over 650 exhibitors.
And Gary, what would you add on to that? I mean, 50 years, it's no small feat, and you are currently the MD of Specialized Exhibitions, and you are, like I said, at the helm of making sure that we just continue delivering, a world-class show.
I think John has alluded to it, but it's been 5 decades of Electromining being a platform for the mining, the industrial and manufacturing sectors within South Africa and within our economy to be able to gather together every 2 years and really put on a show that displays the wares, the technologies, the changes in trends that are affecting those industry sectors, which are the lifeblood of our economy, great sources of employment. But not only that, they've reflected the trends internationally as well. And I think that's been the key success driver of Electromining Africa as an event.
Charlene, Portfolio Director, I mean, you are a woman and we are looking into the future. Here you are with such impact that you are leaving behind and such a legacy that you are building. I mean, we recently just celebrated 25 years work anniversary for one of our colleagues who's our exhibition manager, Shemaine Wood. And I mean, time and again, these are women who are leading the brand forward. What is your take on this 50 years, this milestone?
Like both Mr. Kaplan and Gary said, it is an amazing show, and to be part of it is such a great honor. And like you said, it's such an achievement. And yes, we're a very dynamic team. Some of us have been around for longer than 25 years, and some of our team 25 years and more even. But to me, it's always been about the people, Dee. It's about the people, it's about the connections. It's about the networking that happens at Electromining. That is why people come back year after year. It's about watching those companies grow. I think of companies like Multitech. Back in the day, I'm sure Mr. Cap will remember, they started with us as a 9 square meter stand.
That's
Today,
right.
they're one of our biggest exhibitors. We've seen that business grow throughout the years. Most of our exhibitors have actually been with us for the entire 50 years that Electromining has been around. To me, it's about those relationships. It's about helping people, making them grow. And hence our theme for this year, making connections that matter. I think it's just so apt.
How has the show evolved over the years?
Well, maybe you can start, John.
Oh, yes.
In the early days.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's been quite an amazing journey with Electromining from the 1970s. And as I said, building up to what it was now, moving to the new exhibition centre in those days, which was known as Expo Centre Nasrec, which helped us tremendously because we had bigger halls, more floor loading, we could bring machinery, we could bring in, and it's been an amazing show. And now it stretches across 5 halls and plus the outside area.
I think, Dee, to touch on how it's reflected the changes in the industry, in the early days, things were a lot more mechanical, things were a lot more labor intensive. And for example, this year we've got a hall that focuses just on automation and some of the technologies around the digital aspects of mining and industrial realities that we face from an economic perspective. So the trends and the technologies really have tracked the changes that are happening in those industrial sectors, not only in the South African economy, but globally as well.
I mean, Charlene, you mentioned earlier that companies like Multitech have been exhibiting with Electromining for years now. And Gary touches on an important point about trends and how that is changing. How have we been able to evolve with our exhibitors and move forward with them?
I think it comes down to those relationships. So we are entrenched in our industries, in our communities. We understand what's changing. We understood the need for digital. And I think that we've managed to keep up with those trends, and we've managed to expand into the right industries at the right time. For example, we launched the transport show, the power show, now with, all the focus on power. We've really managed to keep up with those trends and to offer both our exhibitors and our visitors what they need.
Dee, if I may just also add to that, you touched on it earlier as well. It's about the changes from our demographics as well. In the early days, it was a very male-dominated environment. Females have made their mark in the space now, in the industrial space. Youngsters like yourself that have joined the team from diverse backgrounds. Our business and the show is becoming more representative of not just, as you say, the past and the current, but very much more so of the future as well.
And just touching on the future, there can never be a future and a present without the past. Mr. Kaplan, what are some of the memorable moments that you recall looking back at the show's history?
Very obviously was and I know Gary will agree with me, was when we invited President Mandela in 1996 to open the show, and he arrived, and he actually arrived half an hour early, and we had a half an hour chat and some hot water with him. That was very exciting. And the other times we had Mining Week by the Department of Minerals and Energy for a couple of the shows where they declared Mining Week, and really the mines see it as almost a public holiday when the Electromining opens, and they have to visit it. They love it.
Gary, does that mean we're getting public holiday just after the show, specifically for the team?
I think just to add to what John says, there have been so many different anecdotes that you can take out of it. But for me, what has been interesting is the actual evolution of the show, to see how more serious, how the trends and the issues that we've been faced with as an emerging economy, as a society that's had its strife but has overcome a lot of those obstacles. In so many ways, the show reflects those realities as well. So, it's not just our team that is starting to transform, and females and a diverse group of youngsters that are having an impact on organizing the show, but that applies to our exhibitors and our visitors as well. We're seeing those changes in the marketplace, and those sorts of changes bring with it different applications of how people approach an exhibition, how they communicate. Digital is far more prevalent now. John, you and I were still busy with faxes and telex machines. So if you tell the youngsters now about things like that, they have no idea what we're talking about. We've had to adapt to, Twitter and, all the other social media platforms. So the only constant really is change. And I think that has been an eye-opener for me, certainly has, to see how the show has changed along with the changes both in society and within the economy itself.
Charlene, please take us down memory lane. This will be my first Electromining, so I will be looking forward to making my own memories. And what stands out for you in the years that you've been PD for Electromining?
There's been so many, and to me, once again, it comes down to the feeling of the people, our own staff, our own team, watching them grow, watching them learn like you will this time around, watching the rookies go down the ducts and experience Electromining for the first time. And then there's also those exhibitors. Nothing is nicer than having one of your exhibitors come up to you and they say, I just got the biggest order my company's ever gotten. That is the most amazing feeling. And then in 2018, we actually ran the Memory Lane campaign. And it was great to read the stories from our visitors, from our exhibitors, saying that I met my wife at Electromining. I got this idea. I started a new company at Electromining. If it wasn't for Electromining, I wouldn't be here today. Those are the kind of things that fuel me.
Sure. What a beautiful memory. I'm looking forward to my own memories.
Oh, you will make lots.
Gary, what do you believe to be the lasting legacy of electromining? And I'm posing this question directly to you because I just want your perspective, and then I'll move it to Mr. Kaplan. And yeah.
I come from a marketing background, and one thing that has really struck me about electromining, because interesting enough, my first show was in 1996. But I came to the 1994 show, interesting enough, as a sales representative. And what has stuck with me is that electromining has become a South African brand. And there are a lot of implications around what a brand and a strong brand actually is. People have associations with it. They have relationships with it. And electromining, as much as it embraces an international flavor and feel to it, it is very much a South African brand. It represents what we as South Africans have to offer, the opportunities, the excitement, and yes, some of the challenges too. But it really resonates as a South African brand. And I think the marketplace has really captured the essence of what that means for our exhibitors and our visitors, and it belongs to them. We may organize it, but it is essentially a South African brand for the industrial and mining markets and manufacturing markets here in South Africa.
And Mr. Kaplan, I mean, whenever we're sitting in meetings with Gary, he often refers to back in the days when he was working closely with you. I'm sure you have so much to add on what you believe to be a lasting legacy.
Well, I'm not very hands-on. I'm not hands-on at all. I've handed it over to the younger team. They were much younger when I handed it over to them. But the legacy of electromining is fantastic. It's a tradition. It's a heritage. It goes back such a long time, and it's been such a fantastic show for Africa, not only South Africa.
And your take, Charlene?
I think I agree with that word. It's a tradition, it's a heritage, and it's something that I'd like to see keep up with the times, that it keeps delivering what all of the stakeholders, exhibitors, visitors require, and that the young team coming in change it and make sure that it stands up to that legacy in the future.
Gary, this year, Electra Mining Africa takes place from the 5th to the 9th of September. What can people expect from the show and what we have to offer?
There are indeed going to be a lot of activations and activities, but I think Charlene is actually best placed to just perhaps share some more detail around those. Charlene?
Yeah, sure, Gary. I think the first thing is, of course, the 650 exhibitors. That's why people come. They haven't had an opportunity or a platform to launch new products in 4 years because of the pandemic. So there is lots of new product launches that our visitors can look forward to. And then, of course, we've got content. Content has become very crucial. We've got 2 free-to-attend seminars this year, one in Hall 9, as well as one more focusing on the automation and the digital side that Gary was alluding to earlier. That is in Hall 7. We've got a brand new forklift driver competition, Mr. Kaplan. I don't know if you knew that. So we're going to find the best forklift driver in town. That's happening in the outside area. And then, of course, we've got our conferences by the Lihasa, the Lifting Equipment Association, as well as one by WIMSA, which is celebrating women in mining.
Mr. Kaplan, what are you mostly looking forward to? I mean, a little Betty told me that there'll be a 50th celebration cake, but outside of that, what are you looking forward to?
I'm just having missed electromining for one show. I can't wait for this new one to come along. And it's terribly exciting. I think for the whole industry it's going to be exciting to have the electromining back again.
So where can people register for the show? What is the process?
They can register to attend free of charge at electromining.co.za. We will send them their badge. All you have to do is bring that badge along and you can gain access to everything.
Thank you for this engagement. It has just been, I think, a really great way to move us forward and to celebrate 50 years of Electromining Africa.
Thanks, you, Dee.
Thank you.
What a gratifying engagement and conversation with the past, the current, and the future of Electromining Africa. We look forward to seeing you at the show this year and making connections that matter with you. Do Do join us from the 5th to the 9th of September at Nasrec Expo Center, Johannesburg. All you have to do is register for free on our website, www.electromining.co.za.